Hello and welcome to Happening Sounds. Over the past few weeks there's been a trend or a hashtag going about on YouTube in the vinyl community for influencers to discuss the 10 albums that they listen to most. You know, I think a lot of people have been answering this question in terms of what are their top 10 albums. But I've approached this list in terms of more utilitarian approach in terms of what I've been using the albums for, having a purpose in my life. And to give you a sense of that, I'll start with this one. This one's a CD, not a vinyl piece, but this is Structures from Silence by Steve Roach. And I learned about this CD from Anthony Fantano's The Needle Drop album, where they were talking about, in a video talking about the best ambient releases of all time. And I felt that this one is, I bought that CD on the recommendation of that video. And it's just wonderful to put on in the morning when you don't want to disturb your neighbors. So it's a light sound of waves of electronic wash that spread about the room, and it's so soothing in the morning, not too obstructive. And if you're doing some writing or something like that, it's ideal because you don't get distracted by lyrics and so much. It sort of washes over you while you do whatever task. In a similar light, I would also like to talk about Time Machines, the Time Machines album. This is actually a spin-off of the Coil project, and this is just a double album's worth of very deep, dark, bassy drones. And so it's great for listening late at night, because even when it's really past the acceptable time in the apartment building to play loud rock and roll or whatever, I can play these dark drones, and it just sounds like a refrigerator hum or something like that. So the neighbors would be none the wiser, but nonetheless, I think it's a very, very atmospheric and very beautiful record. These next several records are also albums that I love on a morning, especially a sunny Sunday morning. Of course, it's a vinyl community classic, the Beatles' Abbey Road, and specifically the Abbey Road medley. What a great sunny Sunday song. The whole album, of course, is really amazing. I tend to gravitate towards the second side. Listen to it a lot. In a similar spirit, Nick Drake's Pink Moon, and a friend of mine was questioning this, that I like to listen to this over breakfast on a Sunday morning, because my friend had felt that it's a very dark and sad record, so kind of strange on a Sunday morning, but I find it actually a very soothing record. In a similar sense, the epic medley of the Abbey Road medley on the Beatles' Abbey Road, I also picked Genesis Foxtrot, because the second side, with Horizons and Supper's Ready, served very much the similar kind of vibe as the Abbey Road medley, and I'm sure they were inspired by the Abbey Road medley as well, but an epic prog rock British Fantasia journey on the second side that's really beautiful on a nice Sunday morning for listening to records. Also, back to music that I like to study or read or write to, Steve Reich, Music for 18 Musicians. Just the incredible organic structure of this record, and the fact that there are no lyrics that are really getting in the way of anything. The simplicity of the pulses that build out into a cascade of mathematical beauty. Music for 18 Musicians. From Germany in the 70s, Neu, the first of 4 Neu records. Michael Rother and Klaus Dinger. The track Hallo Gallo in particular is just amazing. And with this particular edition, I love the plain white vinyl. It's a beautiful thing to behold. Yeah, but it's this album I feel was so ahead of its time. It came out in like 1971, but it sounds like a lot of things that went on to be indicative of post-rock and so on in the future. Of course, famously their sound and style was emulated by Stereolab, but there have been many others who've sort of copied that motoric style drumming and guitar playing on the Neu record. So Neu, especially Hallo Gallo. In terms of dreamlike relaxation music, Alice Coltrane. Of course, in jazz circles, John Coltrane gets more attention, but I think Alice Coltrane, specifically this album, Journey in Satchidananda, featuring Pharoah Sanders. I'm a big Pharoah Sanders fan. Him and Alice together, it's beautiful. Alice with her harp, Pharoah Sanders with his soprano saxophone. Lots of other interesting instruments on here like the tambura, the oud, bells and tambourine. Just a cosmic voyage. Beautiful. Listen to it all the time. This next album, it feels like kind of a cliche, and I bounced back and forth on this record. For many years, I dismissed this record as being overblown, and I think it's because there are 2 songs on here that I'm not so wild about, and those 2 songs are maybe the most famous ones. I'm talking about Dark Side of the Moon. Now, of course, the 2 most famous songs on here are Time and Money, and I just think those songs are very conventional rock and roll songs. But for me, the album really picks up steam from Us and Them onwards, and then it's just a divinely inspired record. So recently, even though it's a super well known and maybe a little cliche, I've been finding myself diving heavily into Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. And last, but certainly not least, and to show you my love for this record, you'll notice that I have the expanded vinyl edition. This is Prince 1999. This is an album that I've been obsessed with since childhood, and I never get tired of listening to it. It's been decades, and this album always brings me joy whenever I throw it on, especially if I'm going to go out on the town. This is my go-to record to get me hyped up for the evening, because this record just makes me happy. And a couple of years ago when they came out, the expanded edition, and got to hear a lot of the Prince Vault tracks from that era, it just made an amazing album 10 times more amazing. So this is a big one for me. This comes last on my list. This top 10 list is by no means in any particular order. These are just 10 albums that I find myself listening to quite a bit. Thank you for listening to Happening Sounds. Please press the subscribe button below and the bell as well. Have a good day.